The gravel crunched under my boots like brittle bones as I stumbled out of the pickup truck, the engine still ticking hot in the midnight chill. 20 years had etched lines into my face deeper than the Kansas plains, but nothing had prepared me for the shotgun's roar splitting the night behind me. My father's rage, the town's judgment, all exploding in a single, deafening blast that wasn't meant to kill, just to chase. I clutched the duffel bag to my chest, heart slamming like a freight train, whispering to the stars, "Colton, forgive me for leaving you behind." But forgiveness? Hell, I was the one who'd run, tail between my legs, from Willow Creek, this godforsaken speck on the map where family values meant hiding who you loved. That night, after the whispers turned to shouts, after Pastor Hale caught me with Elias in the old barn, their lips on mine tasting like forbidden hay and summer sweat, I'd grabbed what I could and fled. Elias, my first real love, the boy who'd made me feel seen in a world of straight lines and Sunday sermons. He'd stayed, or so I heard later, broken and beaten down until he vanished too. And Colton, my 5-year-old son from a marriage I'd faked to fit in, left with my sister, his aunt, who'd sworn to raise him right. Now, 2 decades on, I was back. Not for redemption, God knows I didn't deserve it, but for him. My boy, Colton Hale, no relation to the pastor, thank Christ. Running for mayor on a platform that promised change, equality, the kind of progress that would have gotten me tarred and feathered back then. I'd watched from afar, nursing beers and dive bars from Denver to Dallas, scraping by as a mechanic, a ranch hand, anything to keep the ghosts at bay. Letters from my sister, photos of Colton growing tall and sharp-eyed, his smile a mirror of mine. And then the news he'd won. Sworn in tomorrow. I had to see it. Had to know if the blood in his veins remembered the father who'd vanished like smoke. The motel sign flickered vacancy in neon red, a welcome that felt like a trap. I checked in under a fake name, Jack Harlan, some bullshit from a John Wayne flick, paid cash, and collapsed onto the sagging bed. The room smelled of stale smoke and regret, the walls papered in faded florals that peeled like old skin. Sleep came in fits, dreams of Elias's laugh echoing through cornfields, Colton's tiny hand in mine as we built forts from hay bales. Waking at dawn, I stared at the ceiling cracks, mapping them like the scars on my soul. What if he hated me? What if Willow Creek had poisoned him against the sinner who'd abandoned ship? I showered cold, the water stinging like accusations, and dressed in my one good shirt, wrinkled flannel over jeans worn thin at the knees. The drive to the town square was a blur of golden fields bending under an autumn wind, leaves swirling like confetti for a funeral. Willow Creek hadn't changed much. The same white-steepled church dominating Main Street, the diner where folks still gossiped over pie about who was livin' right, the creek that wound lazy through it all, whispering secrets to anyone who listened. But billboards screamed Colton's face now. Clean-shaven, blue eyes fierce, promising a new dawn for Willow Creek. Inclusive, strong, united. My chest tightened. Inclusive. Did that word finally stretch to cover men like me? Parking at the edge of the square, I slipped into the crowd gathering for the ceremony. Folks in Sunday best mingled with farmers and Carhartts, a mix of suspicion and hope hanging thick as humidity. I kept to the shadows of the old oak, its branches gnarled like arthritic fingers pointing blame. Whispers rippled. Hale's boy? Can you believe it? After his pa. They trailed off, eyes darting. I swallowed bile, inching closer until I could see the stage. A wooden platform draped in red, white, and blue, microphones gleaming, the mayor's seal shining like a badge of hard-won grace. And there he was, Colton, 25 now, striding up the steps with that easy confidence I'd prayed for in empty motel rooms. Tall, broad-shouldered, his dark hair cropped short, suit tailored sharp against the wind. He shook hands with the outgoing mayor, an old-timer named Hargrove who'd probably voted against every rainbow flag in existence. The crowd hushed as Colton raised his right hand, voice steady over the speakers. I do solemnly swear. I froze, tears blurring the edges. My boy. Mayor. The word tasted like pride and ash. He recited the oath like a vow to the heavens, then turned to the podium, scanning the faces. Our eyes met, or so I thought, a split-second lock that sent ice through my veins. Did he see me? Recognize the ghost in the crowd? His speech poured out eloquent fire. Jobs for the struggling farms, schools that didn't crumble, and yes, rights for all, no matter who you loved. Willow Creek isn't just a place, he said, voice cracking just a hair. It's a promise. To the outcasts, the dreamers, the ones who've been told they don't belong. We're rewriting that story today. Applause thundered, but I couldn't move. A woman beside me, gray-haired, familiar, nudged my arm. You new in town? Ain't seen you round. Her eyes narrowed, piecing it together. Wait, you look like. Panic clawed up my throat. I backed away, melting into the throng as Colton stepped down, aides swarming him like bees to honey. I needed air, needed out. Ducking into an alley behind the hardware store, I leaned against the brick, breath ragged. That's when I heard it. Footsteps, deliberate. Christian. The voice was velvet over steel, laced with disbelief and something sharper. I turned, and there he stood, Elias. Not the boy from the barn, but a man, lean, silver threading his temples. Laugh lines etching kindness around eyes that still haunted my dreams. He wore a simple button-down, sleeves rolled, hands shoved in pockets like he was bracing for a storm. Holy shit, it's really you. Time folded in on itself. I opened my mouth, but words choked. He stepped closer, close enough I could smell the earth on him. Still a farmer, then, tending the land that had tried to break us. Elias, I managed, voice a rasp. I'm back. For Colton. His face crumpled, joy warring with pain. You son of a bitch. 20 years. And you waltz in like it's nothing? But there was no venom, just raw ache. He pulled me into a hug, fierce and unyielding. And for the first time since that shotgun night, I let myself break. Sobs muffled in his shoulder, the world blurring to the beat of his heart against mine. We talked for hours in his truck, parked by the creek where we'd first kissed under a harvest moon. He'd stayed after I left, fought the whispers, married a woman to prove himself, had a daughter now, grown and gone to college. Divorced 5 years back, quietly. I never stopped loving you, Chris, he said, staring at the water rippling silver. But Willow Creek, it chews up dreamers. Colton's changing that. Your boy's a force. I told him everything. The wandering, the jobs that paid just enough to send money to my sister anonymously. The nights I'd stare at photos of Colton, wondering if he'd spit in my face. Elias listened, hand on my knee, steady as the current. By dusk, as we drove back, something shifted. A spark reigniting, tentative but real. Romance, after all this time? It felt like tempting fate, but his glance lingered, warm and questioning. That night, back at the motel, a knock shattered the quiet. I opened the door to Colton, tie loosened, eyes stormy. Aunt Lena told me you were here, Dad. The word hung heavy, a weapon or a bridge. He stepped in, shutting the door soft. Why now? After all this time? I sank onto the bed, gesturing for him to sit. He didn't. I had to see you take the oath. Proud doesn't cover it, son. You're everything I couldn't be. His laugh was bitter, slicing deep. Everything you couldn't be? Or wouldn't? You left me, Dad, with stories about how you were sick, how loving a man made you a monster. I grew up hiding that shame, pretending to be straight until I couldn't anymore. Came out at 18, lost half my friends. And now you're back, like some prodigal ghost, while I'm trying to fix this town you ran from. The betrayal landed like a gut punch. I'd sent money, letters through my sister, and signed careful. But he'd twisted it into abandonment, the town's poison seeping in. I ran to protect you, I whispered. Your grandpa. He would have hurt us both. I thought distance would keep you safe. Safe? Colton paced, fists clenched. I clawed my way up, Dad, fought for every vote, every ally. And tomorrow, I announced the first Pride event in Willow Creek history. If word gets out you're here, the man who shamed us all, it'll tank everything. The old guard's already whispering. Pastor Hale's preaching fire and brimstone. Elias's name flickered in my mind, but I shoved it down. Then I'll leave. Again. For you. He stopped, face crumpling.
No.
Stay. But hidden. Please. Just let me do this my way. He hugged me then, awkward and fierce, and as he pulled away, I saw it. The fear mirroring mine from 20 years back. My boy, mayor of a town that might still devour him. The next days blurred into a tense dance. Colton kept me stashed at Elias's farm on the outskirts, a rambling spread of silos and sunflowers where the air tasted of second chances. Elias and I fell into old rhythms, mending fences, sharing coffee on the porch at dawn, his hand brushing mine over mugs steaming with forgiveness. It wasn't fireworks, not yet, but a slow burn, the kind that warms bones chilled by decades of alone. We'd talk late into the night, his daughter Mia visiting once, all sharp wit and hugs, calling me Uncle Chris with a wink that said she knew. Colton threw himself into mayoring, town halls packed with wary faces, deals inked for a community center that'd double as a safe space. But shadows loomed. Whispers grew to murmurs. Pastor Hale, that venomous holdover from my nightmare, rallying the concerned citizens against Colton's agenda. I caught glimpses on the local news, Elias's old TV flickering with footage of protests, signs decrying Sodom's gate at Willow Creek's door. One evening, as thunder rumbled distant, Colton burst into the farmhouse, rain-slicked and wild-eyed. They know, Dad, about you. Hale dug up the old files, your disappearance, the scandal. He's calling a press conference tomorrow. Gonna out you to bury me. He collapsed into a chair, head in hands. Elias poured whiskey, strong and silent, while I knelt before my son, gripping his shoulders. We fight, I said, voice steel I hadn't felt since the oil fields. Together, no more running. But Colton shook his head, tears carving tracks down his cheeks. I can't. Not yet. If I acknowledge you publicly, they say I'm just like you, a family curse. Mia warned me, the polls are dipping. I have to denounce it. Say you're not welcome here. Betrayal sharp as shattered glass. My own blood, turning the knife to save his crown. Elias's hand found mine under the table, anchoring me as Colton fled into the storm, leaving silence thicker than mud. That night, Elias and I sat on the porch swing, rain pattering like accusations. He loves you, Chris, he murmured, arm around my shoulders. But power, it twists good men. I leaned into him, the weight of years dissolving in his warmth. And us? After all this? His kiss was soft, exploratory, a question answered in the affirmative. Romance bloomed quiet, in stolen touches and shared breaths, a testament to love's stubborn root. But dawn brought the axe. I watched from Elias's truck, parked blocks away, as Colton's presser unfolded on the square's big screen. Cameras flashed, crowd swelled. My son, poised at the podium, face a mask of resolve. Regarding the rumors, he began, voice steady, about a man claiming relation to me, Christian Hale. Let me be clear. That chapter is closed. Willow Creek moves forward without the baggage of past sins. We welcome progress, not regression. The words eviscerated me. Baggage. Sins. I gunned the engine, tires spinning gravel as I tore out of town. Elias's pleas fading in the rearview. 20 years later, and I was running again, chased not by shotguns but by my son's ambition. Miles blurred into heartache, the highway a ribbon unspooling west. I stopped at a rest area near the Oklahoma line, phone buzzing with Elias's texts. Come back. He didn't mean it, but I couldn't. Not until Colton owned his truth. Weeks turned to a month. I holed up in a cheap Amarillo motel, fixing rigs by day, drowning regrets by night. News trickled in. Colton's approval tanking, protests swelling, Hale's flock baying for blood. Then a call from Mia. Uncle Chris? He's breaking. Comes to the farm every night, staring at your old photos. Says he betrayed you worse than you ever did him. I drove through the night, plains a black sea under stars indifferent as ever. Dawn broke as I crested the hill to Elias's place, the farmhouse glowing like a beacon. Colton was there, on the porch, disheveled in pajamas, eyes hollow. He saw me, bolted up. "Dad." I cut him off with a hug, bone-crushing. "Enough hiding. We're Hales. We stand." He sobbed then, the mayor's armor cracking. "I thought it'd save everything. But losing you again. It's worse than any vote." Elias joined us. Mia too. A makeshift family weaving threads frayed by time. Colton called a special council meeting that afternoon, live-streamed to the nation. Flanked by us. Me in my flannel, Elias at my side, he faced the cameras. "I lied yesterday, out of fear. My father, Christian Hale, was driven from this town for loving as God made him. That's our shame, not his. Today, Willow Creek apologizes. And we begin again, with pride next month, with open arms for every soul." The backlash hit like a twister. Resignations called, boycotts threatened. But allies rose. Farmers who'd lost sons to hate, teachers tired of silence. Colton fought, fire in his veins, while Elias and I built our quiet life. Mornings mending what broke, evenings under stars where first kisses echoed. It wasn't perfect. Scars lingered, whispers persisted. But in Willow Creek Square, under that same oak, Colton swore me in as community liaison. First openly gay man in office. Elias's hand in mine, Colton's grin wide. We planted a rainbow flag that fluttered defiant. Humanity, I learned, isn't in perfection. It's in the chase, the running, the returning, the loving fierce despite the shotguns. And in a town once my hell, we forged heaven, one stubborn heartbeat at a time. The aftermath settled like dust after a stampede. Choking, unavoidable, but fertile ground if you knew how to till it. Colton's confession didn't just ripple. It roared through Willow Creek like the '89 tornado that leveled half the east side. By evening, the local Facebook group, once a sedate spot for lost cat posters and bake sale alerts, exploded with 1,000 comments. A digital bonfire of fury and fragile hope. "Traitor!" screamed one from Hargrove's cronies. "Finally truth?" countered a young barista I'd later learn was Colton's secret boyfriend. A lanky kid named Theo with tattoos peeking from his diner apron. I holed up at Elias's that first week. The farm a sanctuary of creaking floorboards and coffee brewed black as midnight regrets. Elias moved like a man half his age, fixing breakfasts of eggs from his hens and stories from our youth. How we'd sneak smokes behind the grain elevator, dreaming of cities where love didn't come with asterisks. "You remember that summer fair?" he'd say, eyes crinkling, fork pausing midair. "You won me that stupid stuffed bear. Swore it'd guard our secrets." I'd laugh, throat tight, and pull him close on the worn couch, kisses deepening from tender to urgent, a reclaiming of stolen years. No rush, no frenzy. Just us, bodies remembering what hearts had buried. Colton crashed there too, most nights, the mayoral mansion feeling too grand, too exposed. He'd pace the kitchen at 2 a.m., tie discarded, muttering strategy to his phone's reflection. Theo says the youth rally's packing the park tomorrow, kids waving flags like it's VJ Day. But Hale's got the Chamber of Commerce in his pocket. They're freezing funds for the community center. I'd brew decaf, slide it over with a nod. "One battle at a time, son. Rome wasn't built on spite." He'd slump then, boyish vulnerability cracking the facade. "What if I lose it all, Dad? The election was razor thin. If I push too hard." "Then you push harder." I'd clap his shoulder, Elias echoing from the doorway with a gruff. "Your old man's right. We Hales don't fold." It was our mantra now, stitched into the fabric of this fragile piece. A trinity of blood and chosen love, mending what the town had torn. But Willow Creek wasn't done testing us. Midweek, a brick sailed through the farm's front window, shattering glass and a framed photo of Colton at his high school graduation. Shards glittered like accusations on the rug. The brick bore a note in block letters. "Sinners burn." Mia, visiting from her nursing shift in Wichita, swept it up with a curse, her no-nonsense ponytail swinging like a pendulum. "Bastards. I'll stitch 'em up next time they need the ER." She was steel wrapped in scrubs, Elias's pride, and she hugged me fierce. "Your family now, Chris. Deal with it." The sheriff, an ally Colton had flipped during the campaign, hauled in a suspect by noon. Buddy Klein, Pastor Hale's nephew, reeking of moonshine and malice. Interrogation tapes leaked online, Buddy's drawl slurring. That queer mayor and his daddy ruining God's town. Colton watched it stone-faced in the living room. Theo curled against him on the couch, hand laced tight. Their romance was new, whispered Theo, 23, fresh from community college with a degree in social work and a past of foster homes that mirrored Colton's hidden pains. "He's good for you," I told Colton later, as we fixed the window with plywood and duct tape. "Holds you steady." Colton flushed, glancing away. "Yeah, he gets it, the hiding, the coming out twice over. First to myself, then the world." A pause. Heavy. "Like you did, I guess." I nodded, hammer pausing. "Took me longer, but worth every scar." That night, as rain lashed the roof, Colton knocked on my door, Elias's spare room, now mine with a few flannel shirts in the dresser. "Dad, can we talk? About you and Elias." We sat on the bed's edge, lamplight casting long shadows. He fiddled with his cufflinks, voice low. "Seeing you too. It's real. Not the fake stuff I grew up with. Mom, she tried after you left. But it was always half a life. I get why you ran now. Why you loved him." The admission hung, a bridge over chasms. "And you?" With Theo. A small smile. "He's my anchor. Pushes me to be brave, not just look it." Then quieter. "I should have told you sooner. About the denouncement. It wasn't just politics. I was scared you'd see me as weak. Like I was betraying us both." I pulled him into a hug, the kind that says more than words. "You were protecting what you'd built. That's strength, Colton. But next time we build together." The youth rally the next day was electric, a pulse against the town's veins. I stayed back, per Colton's plea. "Keep low, Dad. Hale's spies are everywhere." Watching from Elias's truck at the park's edge. Kids, teens mostly, milled under colorful tents. Face paint in rainbows, booths hawking ally pins and zines on queer history. Colton took the mic, Theo at his elbow, voice booming. "This isn't about division. It's about claiming space. For the kid scared to hold his boyfriend's hand. For the elder who hid for decades. Willow Creek, we're that space now." Cheers erupted, but so did counter-protests across the street. Hale's flock, signs bobbing like buoys in a hate-filled sea. "Repent!" they chanted, faces twisted. Then a scuffle, Buddy Klein out on bail shoving a teen with a bi flag. Chaos bloomed. Shouts, a punch thrown, sirens wailing as the sheriff's deputies swarmed. Couldn't stay put. Barreling from the truck, I plunged into the fray, grabbing Buddy's arm mid-swing. "Enough!" My voice cracked the din, raw from disuse in crowds. He whirled, eyes wild. "You! The devil's seed." Faces turned, townies gaping, kids cheering faint. Colton pushed through, face ashen. "Dad, get back." But it was too late. Cameras caught it all, me, the ghost made flesh, shielding the teen, Elias bursting from the crowd to pull me clear. By nightfall, the video went viral, Willow Creek stands trending, shares from coastal liberals to Heartland holdouts. Colton called an emergency town hall, the chamber packed to bursting. I sat front row with Elias, his knee against mine, a silent vow. As Colton ascended the dais, sweat beading his brow, he locked eyes with me. "Tonight, we face our past. My father stands accused of sins this town invented. But love, that's no sin. It's salvation." Applause mixed with boos, a cacophony of reckoning. Hale rose, Bible thumping his podium. "Mayor Hale preaches tolerance, but sows perversion. We demand recall. Restore decency." The vote came swift. Petition drives launched, signatures flooding in. Colton fought back with facts. Funds raised overnight for the center, endorsements from state reps. But the strain etched him hollow, Theo confiding one evening over farm fresh pie. "He's not sleeping. Thinks he's failing you all." I cornered Colton in the barn next dawn. Hay scent thick, horses nickering soft. "You're not failing. You're leading. But leaders need rest. and truth. I told him then, halting, about the night I left. The shotgun's echo, my father's slur. Freak! You'll burn us all. How I'd hitched to Denver. Slept in alleys. Wired every penny to my sister for his shoes, his books. He listened, tears silent. I thought you forgot us. Never, son. Every mile was for you. We embraced amid the stalls, father and mayor, the weight lifting fractionally. Romance wove through the tension like wildflowers in cracked earth. Elias and I stole moments. A drive to the creek at twilight, where we spread a blanket and unpacked sandwiches. His head on my lap as stars pricked the sky. Marry me? He murmured one night, ring from his pocket. A simple band, tungsten tough as us. I said yes with a kiss that tasted of forever, the farm our witness. But climax brewed. Hale's recall petition hit the required marks mid-October, forcing a special election. Billboards sprouted overnight. Colton's face beside mine, captioned like father, like failure. Threats escalated. A slashed tire on Theo's bike, dead rats on the farm's porch. Colton doubled security, but fear gnawed. The breaking point came All Hallows' Eve, fog cloaking the square like a shroud. A masked rally, Hale's Faith March, clashed with our countervigil, lanterns glowing soft for the marginalized. I stood with Elias, Colton, and Theo nearby, when Hale himself cornered us, megaphone blaring scripture. Abominations. Flee or face judgment. A bottle flew Molotov, flames blooming ugly. It hit the vigil tent, fire licking canvas. Screams pierced the night. I shoved Elias clear as chaos reigned. Colton tackled a rioter, Theo dragging a woman from the blaze. Deputies swarmed, but not before the inferno claimed a booth of donated books. Queer histories curling to ash. In the ER waiting room, soot-streaked and bandaged, Colton gripped my hand. This ends now, Dad. No more half measures. The next dawn, he announced, a federal civil rights probe into Willow Creek's systemic discrimination, backed by allies in Topeka. Hale's empire cracked, donors fleeing, nephew arrested again. The election loomed, but momentum shifted. Rallies swelling, even skeptics nodding at Colton's grit. As leaves turned crimson, Elias and I walked the fields, ring glinting. Think we'll make it? I asked, wind tousling his hair. He grinned, boyish. We already have. Winter crept in on frost-kissed boots, blanketing Willow Creek in a hush that belied the brewing storm. The special election was 6 weeks out, and the town felt like a powder keg with a lit fuse. Every diner chat a spark, every church bulletin a broadside. Colton barnstormed the county. Farm co-ops at dawn, senior centers by dusk, his voice hoarse but unyielding. This isn't about me, he'd say, Theo's water bottle thrust into his hand mid-speech. It's about us, farmers losing sons to suicide, moms hiding grandkids' truths. Willow Creek chooses, hate's dead end or love's open road. I'd tag along incognito at first, cap pulled low, but after the fire, anonymity shattered. Folks approached tentative. The mechanic from my old shop, slapping my back with a gruff. About time someone called bullshit on Hale. Or Mrs. Delaney, the librarian who'd slipped me dog-eared Steinbecks in high school, whispering, your boys got your fire, Chris. Don't let 'em dim it. Even skeptics thawed. A grizzled rancher at the feed store muttering, ain't queer myself, but fair's fair. Town needs fixin'. Elias anchored it all. His farm the war room. Maps pinned with polling data. Mia crunching numbers on her laptop between shifts. Our wedding planning wove in whimsical, simple courthouse affair come spring, with Colton officiating, Theo best man. Nights, after briefings, Elias and I'd retreat to the loft, straw mattress creaking under us, his whispers tracing my collarbone. You're home now, love. Stay. Romance deepened, not in grand gestures but quiet intimacies. His calloused hand in mine during drives, shared silences watching sunsets bleed orange over silos. But betrayal's shadow lingered, Hale's final gambit uncoiling like a rattler in tall grass. It struck mid-December, a blizzard howling wide out, trapping us farm-bound. Colton got the call at breakfast. Leaked emails, his mayoral inbox hacked, spilling private notes, strategy memos marked confidential. But worse, personal threads, mine to him and signed from years back. Proud of you, kid. Keep fighting the good fight. Colton's replies, love you too, Dad. Wish you were here. Harmless, you'd think. But Hale's spin machine twisted them into conspiracy. Proof Colton had imported his deviant father to corrupt the town, complete with forged timestamps suggesting I'd puppeteered his campaign from the shadows. The local rag splashed at front page. Mayor's secret puppet master. Gay dad pulls strings? Talk radio frothed. Collars bang for blood. Colton stormed the farmhouse, snow dusting his coat, face thunderous. It's bullshit, Dad. Timestamps doctored. IP traces to Hale's deacon. But the damage. Polls show me down 10 points overnight. Theo paced behind him, phone glued to ear, coordinating lawyers. We've got digital forensics inbound from KC. Sue the bastards for defamation. But Colton waved it off, sinking into a chair. Too late. Voters smell scandal. Trusts shattered. His eyes met mine, guilt raw. This is my fault. I pushed too hard, too fast. Dragged you into the light when you deserved peace. I knelt, gripping his knees. Son, lights where we thrive. Remember the creek? Elias and I, kid-stealing moments. We didn't ask permission, we claimed them. Elias nodded from the stove, pancakes forgotten, his presence a steady hum. That night, as wind wailed, Colton confessed deeper wounds over whiskey by the fire. After you left, Grandpa, your dad, told me stories. Painted you as weak, running from manhood. I believed it till I couldn't. Came out to him at 16. He disowned me on the spot. That's why I clawed so hard for this office. To prove I wasn't you. Stronger. The words gutted me. Betrayal's echo from his presser months back. You are stronger, I said, voice thick, because you stayed. Fought. But strength ain't solo. It's us, together. Theo, ever the glue, pulled Colton close. Their kiss, brief, fierce, reminded me of Elias and me in that barn. World be damned. We've got your back, Theo murmured. All of us. The storm broke literal and figurative come morning. Plows cleared roads, and Colton hit back with a town hall live-streamed statewide. Flanked by us, me unapologetic in flannel, Elias solid, Mia with charts, he laid it bare. These leaks? Forged by fearmongers clinging to yesterday. My father's no puppet. He's my North Star. And Willow Creek. We're charting new skies. Viewership spiked, donations poured, queer orgs from LA to NYC. Even a shout-out from a senator. But Hale countered vicious. A midnight rally at the church, torches flickering ominous, his sermon a screed. The prodigal returns, dragging his filth. Vote recall. Cleanse our soil. Clashes erupted post-rally. Eggs on the community center's fresh paint. Slurs keyed into Theo's truck. Colton upped patrols, but exhaustion carved him gaunt. One eve, post-debate, where he'd eviscerated Hale's proxy with facts on economic boosts from inclusivity, he collapsed at the farm table, head-thudding wood. Can't. Keep up. Elias brewed tea, strong as his resolve. I rubbed his back, murmuring, You've carried this alone too long. Theo hovered, helpless, until Colton pulled him down, their foreheads touching. Marry me? After this mess. Build something real. Theo's yes was tear-choked, a spark in the gloom. We toasted then. 4 of us, plus Mia on video call, to futures forged, not faked. Election eve dawned brittle, January's bite nipping heels. Willow Creek buzzed. Yard signs dueling like fencers, diners divided. Colton walked the square solo, shaking hands neutral, farmer, teacher, doubter. I watched from the bakery window, scone crumbling forgotten, pride swelling fierce. Elias joined, arm round my waist. Our boys got grit. Night fell anxious. We gathered at the farm, potluck of Mia's chili, Theo's playlist of anthems soft. Polls closed at 8, results trickling slow. First precincts, Colton up slim. Then rural holds, Hale's surge. My gut nodded. Elias's hand tightened. By 11, with 80% in, it teetered Colton by 127 votes. Hale demanded recount, lawyers swarming. Days blurred. Audits, affidavits, tensions taut. Vigil held at the creek, lanterns floating prayers, where Elias proposed we'd wed come spring thaw. Under these waters, he said, witness to our start and now our vow. But climax crested Valentine's week, recount wrapping. Hale's camp unearthed evidence. A planted diary, Colton's confessions to radical agendas, dated pre-hack. It smelled of desperation, but media lapped it. Colton, holed in his office, called me frantic. Dad, it's over. They win. No. I drove through sleet, bursting in to find him shredding papers. Theo consoling. We go public. Expose the forgery. Live, unfiltered. He balked, but fire reignited. Midnight broadcast from the square. Colton, us beside, holding the diary. This? Fiction from fanatics. But my truth? Here. He kissed Theo full view, cameras catching gasps and grins. Love wins elections and hearts. The feed crashed servers. Willow Creek love trended global. Recount certified, Colton 312 vote victory. Hale slunk, church emptying slow. Spring bloomed triumphant. Our wedding courthouse steps, Colton officiating. Drew the town. Allies cheering, holdouts nodding. Elias's vows. 20 years waitin', worth every dawn. Mine. You're my horizon, always. Colton, beaming, pronounced us. Husbands, kin, unbreakable. Humanity's arc bent slow, but in Willow Creek, we straightened it scarred, but shining. Summer unfurled lazy and lush over Willow Creek. The creek swelling fat from spring rains, corn whispering secrets to the wind. Colton's re-election, technically a retention, but victory all the same, had rewritten the town's pulse. The community center broke ground with Rainbow Cornerstones, its first program a youth group where kids like Theo once was could breathe free. Pride bloomed full that June. The square awash in flags and floats, not a single counter-protest in sight. Hale's church, diminished to echoes, shuttered its doors come July. Rumor had him fleeing to a Bible camp in Arkansas, tail tucked. Life settled into rhythms I'd only dreamed in those wandering years. Mornings with Elias on the porch, coffee steaming as we planned the farm's expansion. A co-op for queer vets, therapy plots for trauma-tended soil. His ring caught sunlight, a constant gleam. Our love, no longer fugitive, flowered in plain sight. Grocery runs hand in hand, diner booths where waitresses winked knowing. Y'all make an old town look young, one said, sliding extra bacon our way. Colton thrived, the mayoral weight lighter with Theo at his side. They moved into a fixer-upper on Elm. Victorian charm with creaky stairs and a yard for future dreams. Wedding bells tolled for them in August, a garden affair at the farm. Wildflowers arching the aisle, Mia as matron with a bouquet of sunflowers. Me walking Colton down a path we'd paved with grit. You gave me this, he whispered at the altar, Theo's eyes misty. Courage to claim it. Vows exchanged under a canopy of stars. Delayed for election dust to settle. Sealed their bond. Theo's, I'll fight beside you. Every step. Met with Colton's. And I'll love you louder than any storm. We danced late. Lanterns swaying. The town turning out en masse. Farmers two-stepping with activists. Kids waving sparklers like wands. But peace, hard won, carried undercurrents. Not all scars faded clean. One August eve, as thunder grumbled distant, a letter arrived. Postmarked anonymous. Envelope crisp as judgment. I slid it at the kitchen table, Elias chopping tomatoes for salsa, Colton and Theo due for dinner. Inside, yellowed news clip from '05. My disappearance headline, circled lurid. Note scrawled, monsters breed monsters. Watch your boy. Chills spidered my spine. Elias read over my shoulder, knife stilling. Hale's ghost, or one of his. I crumpled it, but unease rooted. Colton arrived buoyant. Budget approved for creekside trails, but paled at the clip. Dad, this why you twitch at shadows. Theo hugged him tight. We've got protocols. Sheriffs on speed dial. But sleep evaded me that night, Elias's arm heavy comfort. Dreams tangled. Shotgun blasts morphing to email pings. Colton's face morphing to mine, young and terrified. Waking sweat slick, I confessed at dawn. Afraid I'll lose it all again. You, him, the life we built. Elias cupped my face, thumbs tracing jaw. You won't. We're roots now, Chris. Deep. Colton launched an investigation, discreet, thorough, tracing the postmark to a P.O. box in a neighboring county. It led to Evelyn, Hale's estranged sister, bitter from a lifetime in his shadow. Interrogated gentle at the station, she cracked. Brother made me send it, said it'd wake him up. But I was you once, Christian. Loved a woman. Lost everything when Pa found out. Tears streamed. She handed over Hale's burner phone logs, proof of his meddling from exile. Colton pressed no charges. Mercy his platform's core, but leaked the evidence to the press. Hale's remnants scattered. Evelyn joined the co-op, tending herbs with hands steadied by new purpose. Fall harvest brought bounty and balm. We hosted a town supper on the farm, long tables groaning under roasts, pies, cider from local presses. Colton emceed, anecdotes flying. Remember the fire? Thought we'd burn out. But look, phoenixes, everyone. Laughter rippled. Even skeptics raised glasses. I stood with Elias, his shoulder warm against mine, watching Colton twirl Theo under strung lights. We did this, I murmured. He kissed my temple. You started it, running brave. But the true climax, subtle, seismic, unfolded Thanksgiving, snow dusting early. Colton gathered us pre-feast, eyes bright. Got news. Theo grinned beside him, hand on belly metaphoric, but profound. We're fostering. Twin boys 6 from the system. Queer-friendly home, they said. Us. Joy exploded, hugs, whoops. Mia already planning bunk beds. My heart swelled. Echoes of Colton's tiny self in those boys' futures. You'll be legends, I told him, voice thick. He teared up. Only 'cause of you, Dad. The ghost who came back. Dinner sprawled epic. Turkey carved with toasts, stories swapped like currency. Evelyn attended, tentative, passing potatoes with a shy smile. Forgive an old fool? She asked me later by the fire pit. Nothing to forgive, I said. We're all just human. Elias and I slipped away post-meal, walking the frosted fields, breath clouding like prayers. Think the boys'll like farm life? He mused, arm linked mine. They'll love it, like we do. Winter solstice brought our first holiday as full family. Twins arriving Christmas Eve, wide-eyed wonders named Luca and Finn, clutching stuffed dinosaurs. Chaos reigned joyful. Wrapping paper carnage, carols off-key, Colton's laughter booming as he helped with cookies. That night, all piled in the living room. Elias and me on the couch, Colton and Theo with boys on laps, fire crackling. We read 'Twas the Night Before, voices weaving one. As snow fell soft outside, Colton caught my eye over Finn's curls. Happy, Dad. More than I deserve. He shook head. You deserve worlds. Spring circled back, anniversary dawning gold. Elias and I renewed under the oak. Simple bands exchanged anew, Colton and Theo witnessing, the twins scattering petals wild. Willow Creek watched, no longer wary. A town remade, humanistic in its hard grace. Years folded forward. Luca and Finn growing fierce, out and proud by teens. Colton terms stacking, Theo his chief of staff. Elias and me graying content, farm thriving as haven. Betrayals faded to footnotes, conflicts to catalysts, romance to bedrock. In the end, chased out once, I returned king. Not of thrones, but hearts. Willow Creek, once my exile, my son's scepter. Love's legacy. Not perfection, but persistence. And in America's heartland dust, we bloomed eternal.